How do humans, and welcome to the Rediscover Human Podcast EP08, I believe it is. You've got me and you've got Josh. There was a guy called Chris that used to be in this as well, but this is the third time he's not been here, so you just have to make do with only us two for this one once again. We tried to record this yesterday with Chris. Things didn't happen. Anyway, we're here now, and for those on YouTube, hopefully, I said it last week, you can see us, and we hadn't even recorded the video, but this time we're recording.
Hopefully
you can see us, me and my nice yellow headband. We got some turkey tail on the go, which is almost... I needed to make a big pot, actually.
Mine's gone.
Yours is gone. Mine's gone cold. But for today's episode, we put a request out. Only once, mine. We didn't spam it, but for questions, for Q&A for us guys. And you guys submitted them to Lewis. You posted them in the comments, and Josh has gone through and gathered the good ones, and he's given them to Lewis. So Lewis is going to hit us with some Q&A. There's no housekeeping really for now. I think that's it. We can go straight into it. What's the first question, Lewis?
Cool. So I'll start with the Instagram ones. This is from Deck. He said he'd love to know if you have any advice for someone suffering with autoimmune disease or skin disease. He's heard about carnivore diet healing these.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to answer any question like that because the cause of an autoimmune disease is hard to identify. When he says a carnivore diet healing them, I don't believe a carnivore diet heals. I think it just doesn't trigger. And I really think that I've experimented with it myself. Things feel better when you're on it. Autoimmune issues, which I've had myself, clear up. But then as soon as you bring other food back in, the issues come back, which for me says it's not healed it, right?
It's an interesting one because I've seen with certain people, like you can get, basically when you take food into your body and you're in a stressed state, and for whatever reason, maybe you're not chewing your food properly, maybe your stomach acid or your bile levels are bad, you can take the food through your microvilli in your stomach in a bigger form than it should be taken in. And because it's taken through in a sort of larger form, then your body attacks it, like, it sees it as a virus. And then people will build up a lot of immunity that way. And when you've built up an immunity that way to a certain food, then cutting it out for a period of time, and then if you reintroduce it in an unstressed state, then you're fine with it. But like you said, I've seen other people as well where they've gone carnivore for a certain period of time and then switched out of carnivore and have just experienced issues again. So like you said, a lot of these things are individual. You've got to look at it on an individual basis, what's causing the issue. But that saying that, it has worked for a lot of people and it could well work for you. So
carnivore,
yeah,
I think it's removed the symptoms while I've been on it, but I don't know if anyone's I've not really seen anyone who's come off carnivore and said that it's stayed healed from what I've seen. But it's definitely worth a shot to experiment, and even if you get the relief while it's not happening, I think give it a go. There is something else I would recommend, but I'm only new to it myself, so I'm not going to talk on it yet like I know it. So I'm going to wait until I've experimented with something at the moment for healing some stuff, and I'll share that when the time's right. But yeah, stay tuned for that. But for now, it can't hurt to give carnivore a go. Honestly, you might feel some stuff that you've not felt before.
I think generally as well, as humans, we would have gone through periods where we would have been carnivores, especially if you're from this area of the world. So for me, we experimented with it at December, and I think I'll always include a period of just purely eating meat and some dairy for a few weeks a year in the coldest months. I think it's really good to just help your body reset. It's a good time to fast. And so I don't think it would hurt anyway to do.
Definitely not. No. Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. And if you haven't, just go whole foods. Completely cut out all processed foods. That alone is a big step. Cool. Next question.
Cool. This next one's from Luke, another one from Instagram. He asks, how do you treat niggles like bad spine or underlying shoulders, for example, by yourself?
It's all the same thing we're trying to solve, isn't it? Yeah. It's all part of the same big question. It's like, how do you heal the human body? There's no specific. The spine, your spine has niggles, so then do this. So all we can really say, and I just don't want to keep going over the same thing, is for me, the rope is the start of the journey to teaching your body the correct biomechanics. And that when the body starts to learn the correct biomechanics or starts to find the correct biomechanics, then a lot of the niggles and stuff will start to go away. But because you could temporarily stop the pain, or you could stop training and the pain might go away, but then you start to train again and the issues come back. And because you need to correct the patterns of movement or the patterns that have got you in that position in the first place, fixing the weak links in your body, doing baby play, lying on your back, lying on your stomach, and breathing into your diaphragm. Get on your back like you're a baby and try and fatigue your core. Things like that will start, for me, it's really start to help the spine. We think we got spine problems, we just do yoga, we do stuff, we try and run before we walk, and we can't even crawl at this stage. So I think going back, and Paul Chek talks about it, with the primal movement patterns, going back to crawling, like I say, lying on your back, lying on your stomach, I call it baby conditioning. That's a good way to strengthen your spine. The way we learn, babies had the strength to walk from all the movements they did on the ground before they walk. Now they look funny and wobbly because they can't balance, but the muscle's there. The core's there, the stability's there, just not they don't have the balance, or the stability gets better, but the essential, the core and the connections are in place from all the movements they do when they're lying on the back and the front. So I'd say get on your back, get on your front, and just try and fatigue your core. That's my best advice.
I think as well, when people have got to realise, when you've potentially got a shoulder niggle or wherever it is, your problem probably doesn't start there. So it's not like you can't just purely look at your shoulder for a shoulder problem. You've got to look at your biomechanics as a whole. And then I think outside of biomechanics, making sure you're sleeping right, because then that's going to allow your body to recover, making sure you're eating right. We've noticed massively that when, doing the amount of training we're doing now, you need to be kind of ready to go all the time.
Yeah.
And we've noticed by making sure we're cutting out processed foods and sugars, we feel like our bodies feel way more free all the time.
Yeah.
So there's things you can be doing outside of, the looking specifically at your body with your diet, with your holistic health practices that can help your body recover quicker.
Yeah. And we've got a storm coming in right now, so we might get some thunder. This is good timing.
That's crazy, that rain.
Yeah.
Right, next question.
We got this from Kent. What do you guys consider as your main exercise at the moment? Like maybe top 2 or 3?
Thunder. Main exercise at the moment? That's a great question.
There it is.
Light work. We're doing. I mean, we're taking Josh through a running program at the moment. I think running is definitely one of the main exercises. I'm doing a lot more walking with weight on my back. I think that's one of the key ones to build up the strength for running, is to be able to spend hours with like a small to medium amount of weight on your back. So long walks with some weight on your back is really good. And I'd say probably some sandbag stuff, right?
Yeah, the sandbag's really good because you can do so many movements with it. Like you said, you can do a lot of like weighted carries, you can do squats, and it's going to put you into a different position you're not used to from playing around with the barbell.
And it's a natural amount of weight. Like sand is much more natural in nature than a metal bar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. It's a moving object. That's the thing, because when you're carrying the sandbag, it's always, the sand is displacing and moving around in the bag.
Yeah.
So you're constantly having to adjust and counterbalance.
Yeah.
It's way more transferable to, skills you have to have in life. Like, say you were farming or doing anything like that.
Yeah. And the way it anchors the muscles in the body and recruits feels much more engaging with a sandbag than a barbell. So, yeah, I'd say that. So walk/running, so long walks with some weight on your back. I think they're a really good foundation for all humans, just to be able to stand on 2 feet for a long amount of time with a small to medium amount of weight, and then a sandbag with a medium to large amount of weight. And then I'd say what I just said with the baby conditioning, where you're doing core work, man. People do planks. The thing with the plank for me is most people, and some people are fine with planks, and it's not a bad thing to do planks at all. The more joints you're adding to the position, the more compensation patterns are accountable for. So when you're planking on your hands and your toes, you've got your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, your hips, your spine could all sag. Whereas when I'm talking about baby positions, I'm talking about like your shoulder to your knee is in contact with the floor. You're taking out like 2 or 3 joints so that your middle core is really working to stabilize at that point, and it limits the amount of compensation that can go on. But this is a new concept I'm talking about. You need visuals for this kind of stuff. But yeah, the storm is crazy.
It's getting wild out there.
It is. So I guess this question's kind of a follow-up to that. This is a YouTube comment from Ainsley Anderson, but he was asking how heavy you recommend going with sandbag squats. He says he never squats to his max for fear of injury.
I think you just got to start out light, get used to using the sandbag. You're going to work a whole different set of muscles than you're used to with the barbell. So just start out, whatever is light for you, 20, 40, 60 kilos. Do some reps, see how you're feeling, and then just, look to steadily increase the weight as you go.
I think don't chase a number, chase an intensity. Like chase a feeling of how, because it's like, it weighs you down when you're holding that sandbag and you let it go. You feel like lighter on your feet, and like there's a feeling of how like draining that having that sandbag is. So it's not about chasing a specific number. It's like chasing like a 7 out of 10 or something.
Yeah. That's definitely a way of looking at it. Like you can, what they call it, like RPE max is like you want to be working to a level of your 1 rep max. You know what I mean? So say 100 kilos felt like that's 10 out of 10. I couldn't do any more. Yeah. You're wanting to get to like level 7 or 8.
Yeah, and it depends whether you're going to do carries or you're trying to do 50 squats. You're trying to do 5 squats or like. But I think if anyone's entering it in the beginning, we still just play with it, don't we? We're not trying to find a 1 rep max with this stuff yet. We're still just like doing experimental weights where we'll do shuttle runs and fight a 10 dip or 10 squats, 10 pedally rows. And I'm nowhere near my max for that, but we're just getting through it. But I think somewhere like 40 to 60 is a good play weight.
Yeah, it's good to start. And like you said, you can roll through a number of exercises. Like we've got some videos on Instagram now we're starting to put up of different exercises. Like you said, the pedally rows, the squats, the different types of carries. And you can just start playing around with all these different movements, and it doesn't have to be chasing weight. You can be looking to get certain distances and different bits and pieces. So there's a number of ways you can go with it, but I think that's a theme that's running throughout our training at the moment. It's just like play with what you're doing, explore it, experiment, see what works for you.
And then what I'd say, just to add, what we did recently was really fun, and I think that can be equally good actually to the sandbag stuff, is the horsepower stuff.
Yeah.
You bought the harness from Bulldog, and we were doing drags with my car where we would go in forwards. What's it called? Like a drag? I don't know what you'd call it.
Yeah, just a harness pull.
Harness pull. We did it backwards. We did rope pulls. We did pushes with the car. Just get your car, your mate's car, whatever you want. Take the handbrake off. Go push it. Go try and push it as far as you can. Like go and drag it. Go and pull it. That was I think that's really good for engaging the whole body. You can't really overtax when you're using when every part of your body's kind of engaged. You're not overtaxing any one body part.
Yeah, I'm finding that as well. Like we're training day after day after day, and because we're doing these whole body movements. Yeah. And because, like you said, we're not trying to max out, we're just playing with it all. Yeah. You can get up the next day and train and feel great. Yeah,
and I think that's how you smooth the holes in your body when you do movements that are full body movements. Then it starts to force the body to have to recruit and connect. Whereas when people have trained in the past, individual or isolated movements, that's when the body has come up with these compensation patterns and disconnections. So movements like the sandbag, like the horsepower stuff is great for that.
Cool. This next one is asking about the rice and meat diet. So he doesn't do well with rice. Is there anything you'd kind of recommend as a replacement? And also, what's your thoughts on honey? Yeah,
I guess it's pretty obvious, just a carb that they can tolerate. Potatoes, right? It's probably sweet potatoes.
Yeah, sweet potatoes. Potatoes are a good option. I know you do this where if you cook the sweet potato, you let it cool, you put it in the fridge, it builds up the resistant starch. Yeah. So it doesn't spike blood glucose as much. So that's a really good option.
Squash and pumpkins, actually. I think I prefer when they're in season. You get a squash from the UK. It grows. I prefer almost. I don't know, something about it, the fact that it grows above the ground rather than in the ground. I prefer to a root vegetable like a potato. So if you can't do rice, maybe try something like a squash. Yeah. And then honey. I have honey. I get apples. There's apple cider vinegar I use at the moment. It has honey in it because if I have honey in the house, sometimes that jar goes down quick. So I have it in my apple cider vinegar. So I get a little bit of honey, sweet dressing on my salad with the vinegar, and that seems to work well. I'm for it. But what do you think with honey?
Yeah, I think
You
honey's
use it with your
great.
bars.
Yeah, I have it in the bar as long as you're getting like a raw form which has been unprocessed. Because if you're processing honey, you're taking out all the nutritional value from it, and it just turns into a sugar basically. Whereas if you've got it in its raw form, then it's got all the other micronutrients in it, and it doesn't spike your blood sugar as much. And obviously you're getting all the nutritional benefit from it as well.
Yeah.
But I think honey's an amazing food.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then I think with the carb, just going back to that for a second, just looking at what's local to you, what was local to your ancestry.
Yeah.
So, if you're from, the UK, potatoes, root vegetables would have been quite common. So, it's probably quite likely that you'll be able to process those quite well. So have a look, where your ancestry's from, look what they would have eaten, start there. It's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Cool. Could you discuss any of your knowledge about urine therapy?
Urine therapy.
This is all you, man.
Yeah. Man, urine therapy was a real journey for me. This was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. There was just some things in my body I was just not happy with, but just real issues. And urine therapy I came across it randomly, and I was just open to it, man. I was searching. I didn't feel right in my body, and I tried it. I tried drinking the first urine in the morning, not the first or the end part of the stream, but the middle stream. And I felt something. I felt invigorated. I didn't know if it was just the fact of facing that fear, right? No one wants to drink their own piss, and I don't know if it was that or what, but I felt more alive. And then I did it. I practiced it for maybe a few months, and I just continued to feel better. Things started to melt away in my body. Issues started to go away, and it got to a point where I had zero fear, and I thought urine was the elixir of fearlessness or something, And I was like, what a crazy creation that this liquid is coming from my body right under my nose the whole time, and it's the worse you eat, the more potent it is. The worse your medicine tastes. But if you eat clean, it wasn't a bad thing. And it felt like after a few weeks, it didn't taste as bad. It filtered, cleared out or something. I was eating pretty much mostly vegan, raw vegan at the time as well. And it just empowered me so much. And I was like, raw. One of the things people say is that it's toxic, and that you can only recycle it 2 or 3 times in an emergency in the army or something like that, which is completely not true. When you loop urine, it gets clearer and clearer each time, which would insinuate that it's taking more minerals, and that makes sense when you look at the way the body works. Is the liver filters everything your body needs, and from everything it doesn't need. Everything it doesn't need goes to your waste, to your exits out the back. You shit, smelly stuff out the back. Everything you can use goes down to the kidneys, and then it takes all the nutrients it can process that time around in the kidneys, and all the excess nutrients you pee out the front, out the same organ that gives you life as well, that brings life through in the form of a baby. So there was things in that. There's a book I read by John Armstrong, who fasted. Thousands of people did their own urine fast and healed from all cancers and everything. There's a book called Your Own Perfect Medicine by some lady that I read as well. So there's a community there, and there are people there, but for the mainstream, they're just not ready to face something like that.
Is that the purpose of it? It's supposed to be healing to the body?
It's your medicine made by your own body,
okay.
And it comes out of the bottom of your chakras or wherever. It pops out the same organ that brings life through. It also you urinate, and so there's communities of people. It's called in yogi practice. It's Shivambu Shastra. They do neti pots. You're supposed to use your own urine for the neti pot. People use salt water where you clear your nostrils out, but you're originally supposed to use
not with
urine. There's as a guy, you can pee. If you ever pee up, you can pee up to this high. Maybe there's a reason that why do we have that fucking ability to do that? I think there's a reason. Everything in us, there's a hidden reason for it, or not so hidden for some people, but it's hidden by our egos. But then when I came out of veganism, they used that against me. Said, "Oh, you drink your own urine and you blame veganism for your health decline." Like the urine therapy made me healthier.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt in my mind it made me healthier. When I came out of veganism, I've experimented with it since, and it's not felt like I got the same benefits. It was kind of like it worked more then. And there's other people. There's a guy, Ogenus Vonderplatz, who's one of the really like the raw primal diet guys. Who's like a raw carnivore, or was. Mm-hmm. He fell at his balcony collapsed in Thailand a few years ago or something. But he's a really switched on dude, this guy, Ogenus Vonderplatz. And he came from like a raw vegan background and ended up eating raw meat and being a lot healthier on that, and said there's a reason the yogis do that is because they're all vegetarian and they're not getting any protein they do get. They need to recycle it through their urine to maximize the nutrients that they do get from the vegetables. When you eat meat, you shouldn't drink your urine after you eat meat for like a day or something when you do consume meat. It's too much at that point. And I've noticed that with meat, that it's just not at all like it's way like harsher than it was when I was vegan. So it's kind of like it goes hand in hand with that kind of diet and lifestyle. And when you eat animal products, it's really not as necessary. But I do think there's definitely a place for it in terms of topical. Maybe there's a reason it comes out. There's so many people that have used it on skin, on autoimmune issues, eczema, and have amazing healing benefits. Models use it on their hair. So I just use it on my hair sometimes as well. I hear models, it's like a secret that they don't all shout about it, but they use it on their hair because it's nutrients. It's good for the body. It's good for the skin, good for the hair. So I put it on my hair, wait an hour, and then wash it out. If I'm in like a sunny country and I'm chilling by the beach, by the pool, I put some on my skin, on my hair, and just chill in the sunshine with it on, and then I'll go wash it off. And it just feels like you just feel like you hum. Like it's like, I think it's a powerful elixir that some people aren't ready for that conversation, but I'll never be ashamed of that part of my past, what I did when I was searching for healing, and I'll never blame it for the issues that came up with that the diet gave me the problems for. But it's a practice that I've gone into the past. I want to actually do a urine fast in the future. I would love to do like a 1 week one and actually see, because honestly, by the time you do the second or third loop and it's completely like neutralized and there's no like there's no potency to it, it's a real warming experience that not many humans get to experience when it's your own urine and it tastes great. Like,
is it by that point? Is it not completely devoid of your body would have taken everything from it that it can do? So then you're literally just recycling fresh water for yourself.
Yeah, that's your own perfect temperature. Yeah. It doesn't need hot or cooling. It doesn't need warming or cooling.
It's body temp.
It's body temp. Yeah. It's like it's actually a really cool experience. That if you can access it like a child, free-minded, it's cool. But if you want to be an adult about it and you can be like that. But for me, I love just approaching it like, oh, that's interesting. Like, what's under this rock here? Like,
Is it because I actually read that question, and the guy that asked it, he said that his mum's been using it and it's been healing her, having really profound effects. So
it's profound. When I first got into it, it was so profound. Yeah. So that's cool. So that person experienced it. There's not so many people try it. Noticed stuff. My friend used to put it in his eye, improved his eyesight, used it as eye drops.
Wow.
And I didn't need, my eyes never been that bad, but when I get it in my eyes, no sting. If I get tap water in my eye in the shower, my eyes stink. Like, your urine there's nothing in there that you didn't put in your body in the first place, and it's like from you for you, and we're so scared of it, and it's mostly because we eat shit and and we associate it with like pub toilets or something, where it's nasty. But it's like, for me, it was a journey into self-love and self-acceptance, because I'm less grossed out. Like, how many things does our body do that like most mainstream society are taught to be grossed out by? Do you know what I mean? We're grossed out by periods. We're grossed out, like, people, there's moon fucking therapy or something where women drink their periods, or people use their period blood on plants and it grows like crazy fruit and stuff. And
we were talking to Riz the other day, and he was talking about how they're doing stool placements and injecting that into the stomach, and it's healing people's gut microbiomes. Yeah. So that there's plenty of stuff that really works and can be super effective, but our society just looks down upon it for whatever reason,
because of our egos, because of our association of what it is. Poo transplants, innit?
Yeah, poo transplants.
I forget the real name for it. Tame Out Clinic. I had a consultancy to go do one of them.
For the injection?
For the enemas, you get 10 enemas. It's like $4,000. Michaela Peterson had it done.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but then you're getting someone else's. I'd rather get it from my mate who I trusted than like some stranger. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, there is a whole culture of people that are like, they're and he said they did it with cows, right?
I think he said, they've done it with cows, as in they've taken shit from healthy cows and injected it into unhealthy
Or just
cows.
put it. I think they just put it straight in.
Oh, do they?
Don't even inject it. Yeah, just put it in their rear end.
Jesus.
Because that's what it is. It's an enema to go in to drop the fecal transplant. That's what it's called.
He also talked about like native communities that use it, and they'll take the shit of children in the community and mix it into like broths and soups and stuff, and then everyone will eat it because it resets people's gut microbiome. Now, I'm not claiming that I know much about this, but you know, Riz is a really
That's fucking interesting, isn't it? That is interesting. What if medicine is that free and simple, but we have to get over our own fucking egos to get to it? So, good question. Yeah. Good conversation. These are the conversations I like, that I hope our audience are ready for.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. So I've got this one here. They'd like to know your stance on various body cleaning chemicals. So it's just like toothpaste, body soap, shampoo, hand wash.
Yeah. So
urine.
Well, you've already answered that one.
So I'd probably that than fucking chemicals, mate.
It would have been interesting to have Chris here for this one, because I know he uses all sorts of weird stuff. But so for me, I think, you know, in modern society we clean ourselves way too much. Like all the stuff that's going on at the moment with people sanitizing their hands every 2 minutes is just bonkers, in my opinion. But saying that, I'm used to, you know, it's only recently I've sort of like started transitioning into basically cleaning my body less and being really conscious over the last couple of years about the products I'm using on my skin, because, you know, your skin, if you're putting it on your skin, you may as well be drinking it, because it's being absorbed into your body.
Exactly.
So, you know, you shouldn't just be putting whatever soap, whatever shampoo, brushing your teeth with just whatever, you know, toothpaste there is. Like these are things we should be as conscious as we are about what foods we're eating, should be as conscious about what cleaning products you're using on your skin.
100%.
But saying that, so I still do use cleaning products. I still brush my teeth. I still use soap. But I'm just conscious about what products I buy. Whereas I know Chris, he does use stuff, but he's not an everyday, you know, wash himself kind of guy. He's like every few days, and he uses a clay for his teeth every few days and stuff like that. Whereas I still brush my teeth every day and sort of have a shower and use soap every day.
Yeah.
But just a specific type of soap.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the middle on that. I pretty much shower every day. I don't feel like if I don't feel like I have to, I don't shower every day, but I'll just, especially summer, I'm having a cold shower at least once a day, if not twice. More for the refreshment, but I don't use soap. There's a bar in my bathroom that's not touched. It's not worn down.
I used it.
It's there for politeness for guests. I don't use soap. I don't use shampoo. I don't use conditioner. I use water. I brush my teeth. I use fluoride-free toothpaste. That's about it for me, really. I brush my teeth. And my hair, it's always affected by my nutrition. Like, how healthy it is not what I'm putting on it. If I'm eating right and I'm in the sunshine and maybe I've been in a river, it's glowing, you know. If I'm eating, when I eat too many cashews, I know it gets more dead. And I notice it in my skin, I notice it in my nails. So I notice these things, but I don't need external products. If they have an effect, it's 5% or less. Like, if a tree or a plant is dying, do you like sellotape the leaves and paint it green, or do you look at the nutrition of the plant? You look at the nutrition of the plant. So the health of my skin and my hair and my nails is what's going inside me, not much more than what's going outside. I mean, there's a place for moisturizer occasionally, I think, you know.
I think as well, people, you know, they'll say, oh, you're not, you know, you don't use cleaning products, you don't use like deodorant and stuff like that. You must smell. But if you're eating the right foods, you don't smell when you're not using that stuff.
I mean, there'll obviously be occasionally times, but for the most part, it's don't have a problem, and it's amazing. I think you can just be creating a problem for the future with all the amount of chemicals people put on their skin.
100%.
And then it just keeps like a spiral of bad skin and stuff. Yeah.
Well, even in the tap water, like most people shower and they haven't got like a filter on their shower, so effectively, you know, you tell people not to drink tap water. You know, use a filtration system.
It's tough, that is, though, isn't it?
And it's well, you can buy, and I'll link this in the YouTube comments, but you can buy a filter to go over your shower head.
Yeah.
And they're not expensive.
Yeah, I've
And
got
it
like the
just fills your
£10
water.
one, but I think in Chi Foods they sell like the £50 one.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you got that one?
No, so we don't at the moment, but yeah, I'm gonna get it.
That's the one.
for sure,
Yeah. Cool. Good question though. I think it's a good topic because I think it's so. I think I see so many people that are like conscious and then they're still like spraying body spray on or something like that, and it's their choice. But that your armpit's a gland, right? And you put in.
But people, that's the thing. People don't think about it because even me,
Because everyone does it.
I've been sort of obsessed with nutrition for years and years and years, and very conscious about what I'm putting into my body in terms of food. But it's only within the last couple of years I've started paying attention to, the shampoo, the soap I'm using, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's very, very important. I think people just don't realise how important it is. So hopefully this helps.
Yeah.
So I've got in here from Daniel. Could you talk a little bit more about water fasting and how it healed your muscles? Or
Yeah. Well, I mean, for those that don't know, I did a 35-day fast on nothing but distilled water without minerals in desperation for healing. I'm not sure that it healed anything specifically. It probably helped a bit. I don't think it made anything worse. But the answers was a bit of it was nutrition. And there's like I mentioned earlier, there's some kind of trauma healing that I'm experimenting with at the moment that I'll speak on much more depth at another time. But that seems much more effective. I was in Chi Foods yesterday and someone was speaking to another guy about he has these like muscle and joint issues and he's gonna do a water fast to heal them. And all the research I did before I water fasted and while I was water fasting was saying that your joints have got all these issues because of your nutrition, and you need to fast for the body to heal it. And that when you fast, your body stops digesting and then it can focus on healing this stuff. And if I'm truly honest, I don't think I came out of the fast and anything felt fixed from the fast alone. It didn't appear to me like my body did that. And that might be the way I fasted. It might be other things. But I recommend people experiment with fasting and short fasts. If you want to do a long fast, that is your own quest. But I don't necessarily recommend that stuff. I think there's a lot of other healing that needs to be done in terms of nutrition and emotional healing, and just physical. Actually, there's certain exercise, postural correction that is very important and effective that we talked about with the baby pattern stuff, and even the strongman training to help correct some things that fasting didn't help with, because it can be a connection issue within the body, and you can fast all you want, but if you don't train in the right patterns of movement and strengthen the right muscles, all the spiritual work in the world can't solve that, I don't think.
I think with the fasting as well, like you can get all the, there's no definite research on how long you need to fast for, but a lot of people agree that around that 16-hour mark, you start getting the cell death. So you can do a 24-hour fast, get a load of cell deaths, a load of cell turnover, and get the benefits of that. Yeah. But then, like you said, you want to be rebuilding your body with high quality nutrition. So organ meats, getting in collagen, grass fed meat, and like oysters and stuff like this. You want to be giving your body the nutrition to heal itself as well. So combination of good food and intermittent fasting, I think, can work just as well.
Intermittent, sure, yeah.
Nice. What are your thoughts on FRC?
Full range conditioning.
Functional range conditioning?
Or functional. Is it full or functional?
Functional range conditioning,
that makes sense.
I think, yeah.
Do you have any experience with it?
So only been playing around with it a little bit, some of the mobility drills.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it so far, just experimenting with it.
Yeah.
So we've been working on one of the moves that I picked up from the Strong Fit program. It's called the Sloth Press, where you basically you're overhead pressing
with one hand.
With one hand, you squat with your hand overhead. You then do a shoulder press in the squat position, and then you restand into the the starting position. And when I started doing that, I just didn't have the mobility for it. My hips, my ankles, and my shoulders just all super tight. So I went through an Instagram account of a guy called It's called Improve with Luke. His handle. He's a guy from the UK. Don't know him, no affiliation with him at all, but just really, really good information he puts out. And he's a FRC trained coach. and he puts a lot of the movements, and I literally just went through his Instagram page and picked out stuff that for shoulders, stuff for hips, stuff for my T-spine, stuff for my ankles, and pulled together my own little mobility circuit of FRs, and he credits some of the movements as functional range conditioning movements, and the improvement of my mobility on that exercise specifically has improved drastically from doing that. And it's also enjoyable to do. You know, I'm not a huge fan of stretching, but it feels like you're getting a bit more of a workout when you're doing that stuff.
I think that's the only way to correct. I think stretching is overrated or like looked at as wrong. You need to tightness is weakness basically, and it's like you need to strengthen. That's why I think the concept of functional range conditioning is that they're working the end range of their mobility to strengthen that position, aren't they? And so that's why it works to open up that range, because they're strengthening the end position. So the concept, I'm more in agreement with that than a lot of stuff, but I still think if the body's blocked, there can be trapped traumas in the body, and a lot of the stuff, like, you're trying to force open the body against its will, and I'm just not so sold on that being the solution. But of all the people that are into FRC, it seems like one of the most balanced and intelligent practices of that kind of the mobility realm that I see. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
100%.
Cool. This one's from Greg. Do either you use Oura rings or anything similar, and do they emit EMFs that interrupt sleep?
Yeah, so I wore an Oura ring for a while. I broke it deadlifting, and
Can you break it?
Yeah, it just stopped. I went to the gym, did a deadlift session, and I'd done it. They're super durable, so I don't know how I managed to break it, but it just stopped working after the deadlift session. And to be fair to them, they just sent me a new one straight away, but I haven't opened it since I've had it, so I will get back on it at some point. But I feel like I've learned a lot from it, and I don't know if I could actually learn any more from it. I'd just be wearing it for the sake of wearing it.
I'm with you. I bought one. I wore it for 24 hours, and then I took it off and sold it on eBay.
Oh, really?
It told me I had a 94 sleep score. I was happy with that.
Yeah.
But I felt weird about wearing it, even in airplane mode. Like, it's still recording data, and there was something about lying in bed that made it harder for me to go to sleep, knowing that this thing is recording data.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like, I don't like having jewelry or like, I don't know, like wristbands and heavy things on my body.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's like the body wants to be naked, man.
Right, I'm exactly the same, and it took some real getting used to wearing the Oura ring to be able to sleep with it. But I did sleep with it for probably about a year, and like you said, you can put it into airplane mode, so it's not speaking with, it's not actually speaking with.
It's not giving
your
off
phone
EMFs
the whole
as
time,
much, but it may still be giving off something EMFs.
Yeah, you never really know, to be honest.
You don't, so it's safer for not to.
Yeah, 100%. But I think they're a really cool tool. Like, it teaches you, if you understand about like sleep hygiene and what helps you sleep, it basically just reaffirms that all this stuff actually works. If you're not watching TV till late at night, you'll sleep better.
It's feedback to tell you that you're doing all right. And I like the heart rate variability concept.
Yeah.
For training, to know when you're overtraining through heart rate variability.
Yeah, 100%.
But I do think that we should just know ourselves without the feedback tool. But I think, all these tools are there to teach us until we can do it. Maybe it's like training wheels until we can do it without. But so whatever you feel. But yeah, you can definitely, like, you wore it for a few months and got to know yourself, and then you don't feel like you need it as much. So it could be worth a shot. Or the Whoop band as well as the other one, right?
Yeah, it's another good option.
Yeah.
We've got another one here from Daniel. What are your thoughts on Elon Musk?
AI.
I think he's an alien, don't you? Elon, Enki.
I don't know. He's. I've watched. So I don't know a huge amount about him. I've watched both his podcasts. His first podcast when he was on Rogan, and then I watched a snippet of the last one where he's talking about the Neuralink, the chip you put in your brain, which is fucking petrifying if you think about it. Very interesting character. I think he's like a kind of a one-of-a-kind human being. Just hearing him speak, his brain seems to never switch off. He's just constantly thinking of ideas. I think it's quite his stance on the world, where he kind of thinks that AI is the next evolution of humankind.
He's not the savior people think he is.
No, I definitely don't think so. I think that school of thought is taking us in the wrong direction.
Not enough people think that, man. People surprise me with how much they rate Elon, and I'm like, do you not? Are you missing the point of like human connection? Like,
Yeah.
it's dangerous, man. I don't really. I'm sure he's come up with some good inventions, and he's a clever businessman, and he's a smart guy. And he does think. I like people that thinks differently, and he does think differently to most.
Mm-hmm.
But it's dangerous how disconnected. He has no relationship to his own body, and that leads us to these dangerous ideas where we're putting chips in ourselves because he can't run a 10k in the trails. If he could run a 10k in the trails, he would not be trying to AI the fuck out of things. Like, our human body technology is greater than anything he could come up with.
Yeah,
and it worries me how much credos someone like him gets, and whether he is like human or AI or whatever it is. It's just been implanted, and he's got. I watched some video of him and his girlfriend. Well, I don't think he's with her anymore, but he just has terrible choice in women. And when I see someone with terrible choice in women, I think I can't trust their choices in anything else, which is really a judgmental thing, maybe. But it's just keep an eye out for people who've got bad taste in the opposite sex, because you can't trust them sometimes.
Also on that as well, I think what we're trying to do here with Rediscover Human, we almost sit on the opposite end of the spectrum to what he's trying to do. He's like trying to evolve humans into AI. Yeah. And we're like trying to bring people back to the root of humanity.
To the intelligence of our being without that, yeah.
So yeah, it's a very interesting question actually. But
man, we can have telekinesis and we might be able to fly, like, without that shit. And that's just going to take us further from it. All technology is plagiarism of what the human can do. Like, a camera is plagiarized from the eye, and like a TV is plagiarized from like the dream world when you close your eye, the back of your forehead. Like, telephone, it's all manipulations of what we've got. But the more we go into that realm, the further we get from our true capabilities that we might be able to do, and we're trying to explore what we're capable of.
Yeah. I think we've got all the tools we need inherently built in.
Amen.
So yeah.
Nice. Here's one from Thomas. He asks, are you planning on doing any meetups? He'd like to join the tribe.
We are planning on planning meetups.
Yeah.
Let's say that much.
Yeah.
But we don't have the plan of the meetup yet. But we're definitely in discussion. We're waiting on the right time. It's what I was talking with Peter even earlier today, and we're like, we want to do this, we want to do this, we want to do this. But actually the time's perfect because we couldn't really do any of it right now. And we need the space to do it. We need the thing. I think it will all come into place. And I think the timing of it is, we need to get this movement going and to grow to a point where we know that we put something on, it's going to fill up, people are going to come, people can come. Because right now people can barely travel, people are scared to travel. Not that you guys aren't scared to travel. But yeah. I reckon it might not be till 2021, but let's just say 2021, and then if it happens sooner, that's a bonus.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was one of our goals setting out, right? We wanted to build the community angle of this. So, and we've been getting such good feedback from comments and on YouTube and on Instagram, people engaging, but it's nothing like meeting people face to face.
No.
So yeah, I think
it's the real work.
It'd be really cool, and it's definitely on the agenda for some point.
And we have discussed it. We discussed like a weekend where people come.
Yeah.
And we do all these different. We go deep into very physical. I think very physical.
Yeah.
And then with other stuff, but yeah, it will happen. Let's say that.
Cool. Should we go for one more?
Last question. Let's do it.
Cool. If you could just give some thoughts on self-image, self-acceptance, and confidence.
Oof, yeah,
that's a deep question.
Some thoughts on it. I don't like that when interviewers just say, "Give me your thoughts on," like, set the question up, like.
I'm reading a book at the moment called The Shaman's Body, and it was really interesting exercise at the end of one of the chapters the other day. It was forget all of your personal history today and just go about your day as if none of your personal history exists. And I think like we go through our lives and we have these events happen to us and different bits and pieces, and we carry all this baggage and we have limiting beliefs about ourselves and maybe confidence issues and self-image issues, and it's all because of things that have happened in the past. And it was just like a really intriguing exercise, just seeing if you could drop your personal history and the freedom that comes with that and the liberation.
Yeah, the concept of that is great, and to try that is a great idea. The only thing that would challenge that is the fact that the body stores your baggage. So you could try and drop it from your mind, but the body has it stored, and so it would be hard. If you could do that, the key is to remove it from the body, to be able to remove it from the mind, I think. That's what we're working on. But the concept's great. And that's what Joe Dispenza is about, breaking the habit of being you, which is when you wake up in the same house every day, everything around you reminds you of you and your life in the past. But when you're on holiday, it's so much easier to let go of that baggage, right? And you feel better because you're not being reminded of your past. You're just like, it's way easier to be present. But I guess self-image, self-confidence, it all stems from some self-love, but that's such a personal journey. There's no like blueprint to self-love. It's just the undoing process of school, family, like trying to impose, what we're talking about, the marches going on, or like the way people, they want you to be an activist, but they want you to be an activist in the way that they are allowed themselves to be an activist. So you can't, I think Anna was telling a story of this white group of people were at the march, and they took a photo for Instagram, and some black girl got involved and said, why are you here doing it just to post it? But then it's like she's imposing the fact that she wants them to do the activism the way they want to do it, but then everyone online wants you to post your activism online. So then it's like, it's just this crazy loop of everyone trying to project their own limitations onto other people. And I think the self-images and self-love for that is like to be free to make your choices, and then not to impose what you think you should be doing onto others as well. So it's like the twofold of not letting other people impact the way you live, and trying to find your true self and let that come through, and then not reflect your true self onto others, where you don't allow yourself to dye your hair pink, so you don't want someone else to dye their hair pink, or you judge them for doing that or whatever. So I don't know, what was read it one more time, see if it sparks anything.
Well, the actual question was, it was someone just suggesting that as a kind of like future podcast topic.
Oh, okay.
So it was just, your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'd want to
like
go deeper on it.
Yeah.
Thoughts on self-image.
That'd be one to prep for sure. It's a deep question.
It's a deep question. Sure. Just not caring what people think, and being true to yourself, but then not making that, because you can go so far the other way where you're like trying so hard to project that you don't care, but you clearly care, which you see also as well.
Yeah, you see it a lot.
You see that?
It's a minefield. It's it's like working through the layers of your mind and getting through there.
But it's the child does it. The child does it so naturally.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's all conditioned.
Emotionally free, can cry without thinking and then can dress like amazingly. Like my niece dresses so well. She dresses herself.
Yeah.
From her own mind.
Like the little kid on Big Daddy. Just wear whatever the fuck you want.
That's classic Adam Sandler. Yeah. Scooby Steve.
Yeah, Scuba Steve.
Scuba Steve. Right. With that, we could go scuba diving out in this storm right now. We should probably step out, do some breath work or something. Diego Sanchez style, like breath work in the storm.
Yeah, hanging off the balcony.
Yeah, I've not actually got to the other side of that. Cool. Thank you so much for submitting the questions. We'll see where this goes. If you listen on audio, please go to our YouTube, Rediscover Human Podcast. We just uploaded a video of me training Josh. We went for a run together, did an interval session, and we're going to do some more training together, and we're going to keep documenting it. So the YouTube, we're going to really, we've got the podcast visuals there when we're recording, and then we've also got some shorter breakdowns of it, so you can see what we're talking about in the podcast. You can see how we're breaking it down with our training, because it was a good session. Josh went well. Josh worked hard, and we're a few more weeks, and we're going to see if you can pass the Royal Marine pre-joining fitness test, running test. Definitely give that a watch.
Yeah, 100%. And if you're interested in learning any more, looking at any of the supplements that we have at APE, it is www.apenutrition.co.uk, and we've got a discount code on for listeners to the podcast. It's Rediscovering Human.
Nice. And for me, it's if you want to start your rope journey, the journey into biomechanics starts with reps on the rope. In my opinion, you can get a rope, weartherope.co.uk. I bought the URL, or just humantimothy.co.uk. But at weartherope on Instagram. Honestly, that's the best starting point for anyone. If we do meetups, it'd be great if you've got the reps on the rope in beforehand. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, Josh knows the power of the rope. So check them out. And see you on the next podcast. Thanks for listening.
Cool.
Peace.